Hi everyone, welcome back to the Community Touch podcast. You may know that the setup's a little bit different today compared to other videos, just because one of my friends said that it would be nicer if the video is just a little bit closer so we can feel like we're having a more intimate conversation. So I just thought I'd take that on board and try a new setup today. But anyways, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tiana. I'm a qualified investment operations specialist and I've been working in banking for the past 5 years as an analyst. Now I run this business, Community Touch, which is all about personal finance, money management, budgeting, apprenticeships, CVs, careers, all of that good stuff. So today I wanted to do a video on home ownership. A lot of people always ask me questions like, Tiana, how did you do it? What is it like to be a homeowner? Like, what steps did you take to get there? And this video is going to explain absolutely everything. So stay tuned if you want to know more. Okay, cool. So for those of you who don't know, I purchased my first property in London in Zone 3 and I was 23 years old, and this was in April 2023, and it's literally my home anniversary in 2 days. So I just thought, what a perfect time to, do a video and share my home ownership journey. Did I say that right? Home ownership journey. I don't know. I hope I said that right. But yeah, so the first thing that I wanted to say is that you don't necessarily have to be on a high salary to start your home ownership journey. So I actually started saving for my deposit when I was literally on a £20,000 salary. Let that sink in. Because I had an abundance mindset, and even though I knew that I wasn't at the salary that I needed to be at to get a home, I knew that there were steps that I could take to work towards it, because it wasn't out of reach for me. Because if she can do it and he can do it, then I can do it too. And that's exactly what I did. So when I was on a £20,000 salary, I was taking home literally just over £1,400 a month. And so I saved £700 each month. I put £200 into my Help to Buy ISA. And if you don't know what Help to Buy ISA is, it's not a problem. It's basically like an older version of the Lifetime ISA. But honestly, the Lifetime ISA is so much better. And I wish I knew more about the Lifetime ISA so I could have invested my money in that, because the returns are a lot more because you're able to save a lot more. So with a Home to Buy ISA, you're only able to save £200 a month, which obviously equates to £2,400 a year. And with a Lifetime ISA, you can save up to £4,000 each tax year. So naturally, like, the 25% bonus that you get on your Help to Buy savings is not going to be as much. Like, let's assume that you max both of them out. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily the best thing, but I still did it, and I'm still proud of myself for doing it. So yeah, every month like £200 was going into my Help to Buy ISA, and then I had an extra £500 a month that I was just putting in like a savings account. I honestly can't remember the interest rate at the time, because this was when I started saving, this was in 2020, so this was like 5 years ago now. So I'm really sorry, but I can't remember the interest rate. It was probably a normal 4%, 3%, I don't know, interest rate. But that wasn't really my concern. My concern was seeing big bulk numbers. So I had £700 altogether that I was saving. And then my apprenticeship was for 20 months. So I feel like, them adults, it's like, oh yeah, my baby is 18 months. Anyways, yeah, my apprenticeship was 20 months, a year and a half, and like 2 extra months. But my salary stayed at £20,000 during my apprenticeship. So again, like, for the next half of the next year, I was still saving £700 a month. But then as soon as my apprenticeship finished, I was now on a £30,000 salary. And this is the key. This is genuinely like the key to putting yourself in a better financial position. The more money that you get is not the more money that you spend. The more money that you get is the more money that you save or invest. Just make sure that you seek professional advice before you invest. And that is the way that you can improve your financial situation, because now you're able to put more money away for your future self. And that is literally like what the 1% do. It's better for you to put more money away. Don't ever get carried away into this more money, more spending habit, because that's lifestyle inflation, which I will talk about in another video, but not today's video. So on a £30,000 salary, I think I was taking home like about £2,000 a month. Obviously, that's an extra £600 compared to the £1,400 on my £20,000 salary. I did put a little bit extra into my savings. So by that time, I topped up my actual savings to £1,000. With the year before, I saved £8,400. So now I had a total of £20,400 saved in 2 years. and that's incredible. And if you can follow these steps, it doesn't even have to be that you're, you know, putting away so much money, because remember, the cost of living back then, it was a lot cheaper. We weren't going out as much because of COVID, so naturally, like, I did have a bit less expenditures. But either way, I was making the most out of living at home. Honestly, my mum wanted me to get out the yard, and I just told her, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not spending my money on rent when you know, and I know that I have this goal. Like, I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. And this is also another thing that I want to touch on. Sometimes you have to stay in an uncomfortable situation just to better yourself. So yes, the more comfortable thing would have just been to move out so I could have had my own independence. But my future goal was more important to me than my current comfortability, because I knew that if I can just do this for like an extra year, I'll be able to move out and I'll be able to be as comfortable as I want to be, basically. So it's just all about like delayed gratification, and that is a very, very important mindset to have. So again, that's the end of year two, and I've got £20,400 saved now. And then again, I went and done the same thing for another year. My salary had increased to 40,000, and I didn't necessarily up my savings amount because I had something else that I was focusing on too. So I was kind of splitting my money between, you know, like putting money into whatever else I was doing and putting money towards saving to a house. And this is another thing that people often forget to do. You can have different savings going on at each time. Some people save and invest at the same time. Some people save towards multiple, you know, financial goals at the same time. It's fine to do that, but just make sure that you're actually saving enough for the main. I would say like have a main goal, and then the other ones you can just put like whatever you can. So let's say, for example, I was putting £1,000 into, you know, my home buying fund, and then some money was going to my holiday fund, some money was going to my side hustle, some money was going to, like, you know, just other things like car, whatever it was. When I say a car, listen, I've got some brought down 2008 plate Fiat Punto. Let me not say brought down because the thing's not brought down and I don't want to jinx it, but this is another thing that I kind of sacrificed to get myself to where I got to now. Like, I really, really wanted a new car. Like, I've been wanting a Mercedes for how long, but the car is a depreciating asset, and there was no chance in hell that I was gonna put my hard-earned money and my hard-saved money into a depreciating asset, when if I just saved on for like another year, I can get an appreciating asset. So that's what kept me going, because I promise you that I was looking at that £20,400 in my account, and I was like, yeah, Mercedes, like, what are you saying? Like, you trying to hook me up? But obviously I did not do that, because again, I just knew like what the vision was and exactly what I wanted, so there was no point. By the end of the third year of saving, I now had the £30,000, and that is exactly what my target was. And so at this point is when I started looking for somewhere to move to. Remember, I've been saving like the whole of 2020, the whole of 2021, and the whole of 2022. So that's 3 years of savings now. And at the end of 2022 is when I started looking at properties. I think I only viewed like 3 or 4, honestly. Originally, like, I wanted a 2-bedroom flat, and that was literally like the non-negotiable for me at first. I just really wanted a 2-bedroom flat. Ideally, I also did want a garden as well, because I love like cooking foods, and I really wanted to host barbecues and stuff every summer. But you know, the more you're looking, the more you kind of realize, okay, cool, this might have been a non-negotiable, but now I don't know, it's a little bit negotiable. It's simply because, you know, with that 2-bedroom non-negotiable, it meant that I would have had to move out like towards Croydon, and I really didn't want to do that because all of my family is here. Like, my mum literally lives a 5 minute, not even a 5 minute drive. From the time I step out my door to the time I get to my mum's door is 5 minutes. So that's including all the time to go like walk into the car, starting up the car and driving to my mum's house, getting out of the car and going to her door. And to me, like, that was something that I really didn't want to compromise on. But then also, like, the further out that you go, the more you're going to be paying for travel and TFL. And the estate agent said something to me. They said that there's no point in paying however much extra money for a spare room or for a garden when, number one, you know this isn't going to be your forever home. Number two, like, why would you pay an extra however much money just for that little thing? Like, we only have summer for a couple of months in the UK, so it doesn't really make sense unless it's your forever home. And I just thought, do you know what, I can understand that, like, definitely. So yeah, I viewed I viewed a Croydon. I viewed a home in Croydon, but that flat was 200,000. But when I tell you, it was literally a box. Like you step in, I promise you, the hallway was only 2 steps. So the first step, you went in, and then your kitchen and the living room was on the right. And I don't even want to say it was like a kitchen living room. It was like you open the door, this side is the kitchen, and then the side behind the door is the front room. And it was just, it was so ugly. And then like literally opposite there, so here was the bathroom, and then the next step was the bedroom, and it was just it wasn't nice at all. And then the parking, it was like paid parking. I just thought that is going to be such a hassle. And it's in Croydon. Croydon's in zone 5, so obviously you know like that is quite a lot of money getting to and from the office every day. And I know it was for a decent price, but to me it just wasn't worth it. Like I'd rather put my money into something that I know that I'm going to love and that's beneficial for me and easy for me to like, you know, have the things that I want around me. So that was a no-no. I did view a house in Catford, and I keep saying house, it was a flat as well, but this was a downstairs like garden flat, and it required a lot of work. I'm not opposed to, you know, getting a property that requires work, but you need to have the budget for that, and I did not have the budget for that at all. So I just thought, yeah, it's nice, but I can't do it. I didn't find out until later on that you could actually take out more money from the bank just to like when you're doing a mortgage application, just to do like renovations and stuff. But obviously it works out really expensive in the long term because you're literally getting like a 25-year mortgage or 35-year mortgage, and the interest on that is just crazy. And again, it was a paid parking road, and I just thought, yeah, nah, can't be asked for that. And if you know Catford, it's on like that one-way system, so it's a bit annoying. Like that road can get trafficky as well, so I wasn't really like too keen on it. And then literally like the third flat that I viewed was my flat. Like I said, it's in zone 3, and it was just lovely. Like when I saw the pictures online, I kind of thought, oh, like this is really, really nice. But then I came in person and I thought, oh, I don't know about this, because you know, like online, the pictures always look way bigger. But then when I came in, I thought it was small, but it's because I'm really, really bad at visualizing stuff. Like if you was to tell me how many people are in this room, I could never guess the correct number because my brain just can't, my brain don't work like that. So I thought, I'm not sure about this, but my mum obviously came with me to the viewing and she loved it. She was like, Tiana, this is the one. And I was just like, okay, like if you saying that and you know quite a few things, oh, so I'm not joking. Don't kill me, mama. No, she knows, like she's obviously got interior design kind of eye, so she knew like it would be very good. And obviously because she's purchased her flat as well, she knows the room dimensions. But my flat was completely done up. All I needed to do was furnish it. It literally was refurbished, so I felt like I was moving into a new property. So I kind of had that new build kind of feel, even though it wasn't a new build, because my flat is a converted Victorian flat. But yeah, so this was in January 2022 that I viewed this property, and I put in my offer like really, really soon after, because I just knew that this property was going to be sought after, and I was trying to get my foot in the door to get the keys. This property was on the market for £250,000. Obviously everyone always advises you to offer a bit below just to see if you get a cheeky little discount. So I put in an offer for £235,000 at first, and that was declined, and then I increased it to 240,000. However, there was another couple and they put in their offer at the asking price of 250. And listen, I'm telling you, this is my God-given property, because I don't know what seller does this, but the seller came back to us. I bought from a housing association, by the way. So the housing association came back to us and said, look, if you can put your offer at 245,000, we'll give it to you instead of giving it to the couple. And I just thought, nah, that's actually crazy. Like, y'all was willing to take a £5,000 discount from me? Really and truly, it's because I was a first-time buyer. The other couple were not a first-time buyer, they were in a chain. So I just think like it's obviously a lot less hassle for the housing association to go with a first-time buyer, because they don't have to deal with like all of the chain demands basically. And a chain simply means like, you know, the buyer was already in a property, they have to sell that property to then buy this property. So it's just like a bit more steps, and it's just a much smoother process for me. So I think that's why. Anyways, I just feel like I'm so special. Like that was princess treatment right there. But yeah, that's where the journey started. So now, like, I was being bombarded with emails and calls and everything, because obviously everyone wants to get this done and completed. And actually they had a completion date by the 31st of March originally. So they wanted to complete before the new tax year started. So we were like, obviously, like, on a, I'm saying we, when I say we, I'm talking about me, my estate agent and my solicitor. We were all on like a time crunch, like really trying to get everything done. And the fees that are involved in buying my first home, I don't know why I'm looking at my notepad, it's literally on my laptop. The fees that are associated that I had to pay was my deposit. I put down a 10% deposit, so it was 24,500. And then I also had to pay the mortgage broker fee, which was £199. Again, this was discounted from £399. And I don't know if it's because, you know, everyone saw me as like a really young first time buyer. Like, they were just like, oh my gosh, like, let's support her. But yeah, it was discounted. And then I also had to pay the solicitor fee. And if you've ever heard of like conveyancing or conveyancer, they are literally like other terms for solicitors. So my fee was 1,925. And again, that price was also a discounted price. I'm just remembering that. And then for my help to buy ISA, I had to pay a £30 administration fee, which was to my solicitor as well, because your solicitor has to carry out like all the help to buy ISA processing and everything. And then I had a survey fee. I think it was a level 2 survey. I honestly can't remember. But a survey literally just means like someone external will come in, inspect the house just to make sure that everything's in order. Like, let's say, for example, if there was damp or like any signs of something bad, like the survey will cover that, and they'll tell you exactly what is wrong with the house before you buy it. So that gives you the chance to decide if you really, really want to go down that route or not. So altogether, that came up to £2,702. And then obviously I had like another 2,000 and something pounds remaining from the £30,000 that I've saved. So it's 30,000 minus the 24,500 deposit, minus all the other fees that I've just gone through. And then I had like that lump sum of money. And I just used that lump sum of money to just, you know, like start getting some furniture, start getting some bits and bobs for my house, because one thing that they don't tell you is how expensive it is to kit out a house, let alone the fact that I didn't have to pay for any decoration. I didn't. And furnishing the house itself, that money was not enough to cover it. I'm still buying stuff to this day, like 2 years later, for my house. But yeah, so those are all of the costs associated with the purchasing of a house. Obviously, a lot of people don't know that there is so much extra cost, and I would always advise, have your deposit money, and then have like, if you're moving into a freshly refurbished house or freshly built house, have an extra £10,000 if you can. One thing that I done that was really, really bad, and I would not recommend this to anyone, the only reason I've done it is because I'm very good at managing my money, but literally all my savings went onto my house, went to deposit, went to furnishing, and I didn't save like any money for emergencies or anything, which is very risky. Like, I don't know why I even took that risk, but it paid off. Like, it's fine now. It was kind of tense, like, for the first year especially, because I wasn't used to just seeing like nothing in my savings account. And over that year, I did manage to save a little bit each month. I think it was like £150 each month that I was putting aside to savings. So obviously by the end of the first year, I had over £1,000 in my savings, which is not a lot, but it's better than nothing. And then I got my bonus in December, so I topped up my savings with that, and now my savings is almost at 5k, which is pretty good. I'm on the road to saving 10k. Like, I'm going to share my journey with you guys on how I'm doing that as well, but obviously I'll do that in another video. I was obviously like just back and forth on the phone with my solicitor, with my estate agent. It was a lot. Like, it was very stressful, and you know, everyone's kind of working in the same 9 to 5 kind of schedule. So it wasn't even a thing where I could just leave it to the weekend, because otherwise it would not have got done, and they probably would have pulled out the process with me for being really slow. So it's like I'm at work, answering calls, making calls. It was very, very stressful. And then like they moved the completion date a few times, which was really stressful for me. So I had already just moved into my mum's new house as well. And bearing in mind, by the time we left our house, we had to leave our house to move to a friend's house literally for the weekend until our temporary accommodation was ready. And so we were in a temporary rental for a few months. And then after that, we moved to my mum's house. And then after that, I moved here. So it was a lot of moving. And that was literally within like 5 months, I think. It was just such an intense time for me. But yeah, so the completion date kept getting pushed back. And then eventually they pushed it back to complete after the new tax year. So I think all in all, it probably got pushed back by like a few weeks. It was just stressful because, like, you know, when you're so close to the finish line and you can literally see the end result, and it's like, why is the goalpost continuously moving? Like, if you just told me that we needed to complete after the new tax year, like, that's fine. Like, I would have had my mindset on that. But it was just the consistent moving. It was just really stressing me out. But yeah, so on completion day, it was the 17th of April 2023, and I got the call to say that everything was in order, all the exchanges of contracts had been done, and I could go pick up the keys. Oh my gosh, like, I'm telling you, this was the most surreal day of my life, because what do you mean I'm a homeowner? If you know me, you know how stupid and silly I am. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, on one hand, I'm really, really smart and academic. On the other hand, I'm like a 2-year-old, bro. So it's just, even now, like, it's still so surreal to me. Sometimes I just wake up and I'm like, wow, like, this is actually my property. Like, wow, this is crazy. But yeah, so that's my home buying journey. And then I want to just explain a little bit more like post home buying journey. So I obviously bought a flat. Most flats in the UK are leasehold. So I am a leaseholder, and the lease on my property was 125 years. So it was a really good lease. Like, it's not really advisable to buy a property with a shorter lease unless you have the money to extend it. Then that's fine, but it comes at quite a high cost sometimes. Being a leaseholder, you obviously get charges. And the first year, like, my service charge was £1,075, I think. But then they didn't do anything, so they refunded us. And then the next year, my service charge was £0 for the whole year. And now my service charge has gone up to, I can't remember the exact like amount, but it's £60 a month for the next tax year. So it's not awful. Like, honestly, in some new builds, you have crazy service charges, and that's why I was really keen to stay away from new builds. I was really keen to stay away from like big blocks of flats, not necessarily the tall ones, but just flats that have like multiple flats in that one building. I was very keen to stay away from that because my mum actually got hit with, like, I'm sure it was like a £17,000 bill to fix the doors and the windows, and the leaseholders collectively paid for the doors and windows for all of the tenants. And I don't know if that's legal. The way that my housing association does it is that they have the total cost and they just split it between the 3 flats in this property. So, you know, we all just pay like our third. So I'll pay my third. The other 2 people in the property are tenants. So the housing association will pay those people's thirds because, you know, we're all splitting it all together. There's also major works that are upcoming. So they've sent a letter last year, I think it was, just saying they need to do some roof repair works and some fire safety works just to keep up with the laws and stuff, and just to keep the maintenance of the house. And for me, it's looking like £3,000. So I'm obviously saving towards that as well because I don't want to be out of pocket. Leasehold doesn't have to be a horror story. Like, sometimes I hear really bad horror stories of leasehold and service charges and everything, but you just have to know like what type of property you're getting yourself into. Typically the conversion properties, like, a lot of people say these are the better flats to go for simply because there's less people in occupying flats altogether. They just say like Victorian houses are like a bit more reliable than new builds. There's no lift, there's no like concierge. When you go to new builds and they have the lifts and the gyms and all of this, like, that's all coming out of the leaseholder's pocket. And if you're a tenant, like, it's coming out of your service charge as well. So those are just things to be mindful of. But if you have any other questions, just drop them in the comments below and I'll have a look and I'll respond to each of you. If I need to do like another video, then I will do. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please give a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to comment, subscribe and share with your family and your friends. Bye.